Teach him how to do your job, okay, boss. So this happened a good 15 years ago, and another story just reminded me of it. As always, I am a native English speaker sitting at a keyboard, so any typos are my own damn fault. To keep it short, 15 years ago and some change, I worked for a local computer programming company that made automation software. Our company got bought out by a bigger national company, and after the dust settled, corporate decided they were going to send a liaison down to our local office to learn how you do things, to be a better bridge between offices, aka, hey new hires, teach our guy how to do your job so we can let 3/4 as of you go before next quarter. None of us were happy about that. But our new corporate overlords had spoken. A month or so later, here's our liaison fellow all ready to go, so show me the interface. He said, oh, that's when we all stopped, looked at each other, and grinned. For you see, the reason it took us so long to bring new people up to speed is that we didn't configure new projects. Configure in this corporate speak meant go check off the boxes in an interface until it does what you want. New, my good friends, we coded everything by hand. Our main program accepted straight-up VB files, not even scripts, full-on files, and our new friend here was not a programmer. The guy didn't know for loop from a bubble sort, so as we were instructed, we started walking him through our code. Here's our X policy. It's the most common one we use and is about 1,500 lines of code in its base form. Didn't you guys say you had some default policies you worked from? Oh yeah, but they end up being more trouble trying to customize than it is to just write the entire thing from scratch. So up here is where we're declaring our global variables. To our friend's credit, he tried. Oh, he tried for days. And every time we thought he was about to figure something out, we intentionally switched him up to an even worse one. We hired requiring a computer science degree, 6 months of on-site gearing up, and another 6 months of shadowing before we would let anyone handle a project on their own. This poor guy got the full year's worth of training in a week. To his credit, on his last day he flat out told us he was sent down to learn how to replace us, but that he was going to tell them that we were doing a great job, and if anything our timeframes were surprisingly short given what we were doing. We ran that department for a good 5 years before the inevitable revolving door of upper management decided to bring in a new, easier to use suite. People are still kvetching about, man, I miss X. It could have done this in half the time. And instead of a 5-man team up keeping everything, we have multiple departments that still can't manage to fix a broken image link in the new stuff 10 years later. Story 2. Am I the jerk for snapping at my husband for waking me up at night because of my snoring? We have been having these fights for a few years now. He wakes me up when I snore, and I told him not to do that. He even admitted to me that because the amount of times I turn around and continue sleeping is much bigger than the amount of times I wake up and snap, he just does it. I have had countless talks about this with him. He says he won't do it. Every time, he does it again. Every time, I do not want to sleep separately all the time just because of it. But he is welcome to go sleep on the couch if he wakes up because of my snoring, probably ish on my part. I hate being woken up because I can hardly ever go back to sleep. Even when my baby was a few months old, I most couldn't go back to sleep once woken up. So I hate it and I snap real hard. I started making his night miserable as well because, you know, if I stay up because of you, then I might drag you with me. I am very pissed at this moment. Recently he promised to not wake me up again, lol, and I'm very sure he will. So Reddit, am I the asshole for snapping at my husband for waking me up because of my snoring? Story 3. Am I the jerk for leaving my drunk mom at a restaurant after she said something I found disgusting? I 25M was out to eat with my mom 54. It was going well for the most part, but she often has too much to drink. I also drove her there. I don't want this flagged as a debate, so I will keep this part short. She was complaining about woke education and ended up saying that parents have a right to teach their kids racist, bigoted things if they want, and it is not the school's place to try to change it. I got up and left and told her to find her own way home. She got all dramatic and called my grandma an aunt crying, said I was mean to her and yelled at her before abandoning her. She ended up taking an Uber home. Family members think I need to apologize because although we disagree, I had no right to leave her there. Am I the jerk? Story 4. Am I the jerk for telling my sister she's poor because she's lazy? My F27 sister F28 and I sometimes attend these dinner parties with our old family friends. My sister always loves to insert snarky remarks about my financial status. For example, I once brought a dessert that had saffron in it and she went on a whole tangent about how it must be nice to be able to be privileged enough to afford expensive spices while most families are struggling to put a meal on the table because of inflation. Today, we were at dinner and she criticized me for washing my hands for too long in the sink because it reflected my privilege of never having to worry about water bills. This was so ridiculous and I lost it. I told her that we grew up in the same middle-class household and I decided to spend my time working to make myself smarter in school while she was lazy and never valued hard work, so her little privilege argument makes no sense. I said the reason I am better off than her today is because I built my own career rather than trying to find the next somewhat rich guy to mooch off of for 3 months and then get dumped by. She was really taken aback and started crying and screaming at me, and I just went home to avoid escalating the situation anymore. Looking back, I guess my comments about her dating habits were uncalled for. But I was tired of having her constantly attack me for literally just existing. Am I the jerk? Am I the jerk for telling my dad's wife to drop dead in front of her friends and family? My 17F mom died a little over a year ago. I was living with her full-time before she passed. She left me a lot of money in her house. Since the house was just going to stay empty until I was done with college, my aunt on my mom's side and I talked about it and we agreed she would stay there since she's taking care of my grandma and her place was small. I will move back in once I've finished my schooling. My dad assumed my mom left me her money and left the house to my aunt. I didn't correct him because I don't trust my dad or have a great relationship with him. I am currently living with him, his wife Jan, and her twin daughter 17, both lovely people in a 3-bedroom flat. 2 months ago he found out that my mom left me the house. I'm not sure how he found out, but he did. Since then I haven't heard the end of it. I'm selfish for making us all stay in a tiny flat. I'm spoiled because I won't share my inheritance. I'm a terrible person for making the twins take out loans. You get the gist. This weekend was the twins' birthday at my grandma's house. Most of my dad's family was there. We get along great usually. His wife's family and some of both of their friends there along with the twins' friends. After they were done opening my present to them, they asked me if that was really it. I got the matching bracelets with their birthstones, which they both loved. BTW, it got quiet and I asked them what else they were expecting. They said Jan said that I was planning on surprising them on their birthday by telling them we were moving into my mom's house and helping them with college. My grandma asked Jan if this was true and Jan started in on me again. She asked what she could do to make me stop being a bitch, pull my weight, help out, and be fair. I told her she could drop dead. That my mom died for me to get all these things she wanted me to give her daughters. I said if she wanted everything to be fair then she should drop dead and I would share everything I had with her daughters since we would have all lost a mother then. That it would be fair only after that happened. She and my dad started yelling at me and my grandma and uncle started yelling at my dad and Jan and everything was pretty much over after that. The whole ride home my dad and Jan were getting calls and texts from family and friends telling them they were disappointed in them and I was getting texts from Jan's family, the twins' friends, and a few of my own cousins saying I was selfish. I don't usually fight with my cousins so I'm really starting to think maybe I am being selfish and that I went too far at the twins' party. Ada.